Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Now, Road Accident Fund CEO Collins Letsoalo said that they were seeing more and more complaints from victims of car crashes who said they had still not received their awards years down the line. Now, his comments comes against the backdrop of recent reports which suggest that the Legal Practice Council received complaints against almost 10,000 legal practitioners this year. Letsoalo estimates that around 80% of the complaints the LPC received against legal professionals were linked to the RAF and accused the RAF of lacking the will or the muscle to address the issue. Joining us now, I'd like to welcome Ignatius Briel, who is the Provincial Director for Gauteng for the Legal Practitioners Council. Mr. Briel, thank you so much for joining us. Good day and welcome to Hilaal Live.
Thank you.
Mr. Briel, let's talk about that number 10,000. Is that the correct number?
No, the number of complaints we received for the year thus far is 14,259 complaints. But what I can say to you is that of those, you're looking only at about 14 or 15% relating to RAF matters.
Mr. Briel, let's talk about, obviously, the rights that, of course, recipients deserve. So, of course, you unfortunately meet up in an accident and the RAF is there. It serves as a tool for you to get money or the compensation for what had happened to you. Now, obviously you would get certain legal practitioners, and of course we don't want to stereotype because we have fantastic legal practitioners that operate within our country, and of course the ethicalness that they operate in. But you do get a few that of course not operate in the right manner. So how do recipients go ahead and obviously lay these complaints to the Legal Practitioners Council if they are not getting the funds that they deserve?
Look, I think it's very important for the public out there to understand that you need to be sure when you approach a legal practitioner that the person you are appointing to assist you is allowed to practice, meaning that he has been enrolled on the roll of practitioners and that he has a Fidelity Fund certificate. So you can easily do that by going on the LPC website to just verify whether your legal practitioner is allowed to practice and has the Fidelity Fund certificate. If you feel that your practitioner is not really assisting you, or you've got concerns about how he is handling your matter, or perhaps how he's handling the funds that is supposed to be due to you, then you are welcome to also approach us. You can come to our offices to lodge a complaint. You can do it telephonically. You can do it on the website. So there are various avenues for the public to actually approach the LPC to lay complaints against practitioners.
Mr. Briel, on that note, it's important that the public knows about this because, you can get any legal practitioner coming out there and saying, look, we are what we are. They've got all the documents as you've mentioned, and they lure them into a false sense of security. And all of a sudden, they get swindled of their money. So, the LPC does serve as an important tool, doesn't it, in trying to make sure that, look, if whoever you are dealing with, that they are registered with the LPC, but also they are an ethical legal practitioner.
No, absolutely. And I think, a lot is being said about the number of practitioners that are being struck off the roll or that are suspended. But I see that as a good thing if the numbers do increase, because I think it does show that the public is more aware of their rights. And it also does show that the LPC is able to actually act against these practitioners. Unfortunately, I recall a recent interview by Judge President Mlambo from the Gauteng High Court. We actually addressed attorneys and said to them, you need to start looking at your colleagues and make sure that they behave ethically. But also, it's really important to know that, the number of practitioners who actually commit these atrocious acts is a small number. It's really unfair to blemish the entire profession because of a few attorneys or advocates who might be transgressing.
Mr. Briel, I want to turn the attention back now to, of course, the Road Accident Fund. I know it's a timeless process because it just doesn't happen overnight where recipients receive their funds. And how do of course they get protected against these practitioners, these legal practitioners who, as you mentioned, it's a very few of them that will want to take that chance of saying, listen, here's my chance to swindle, these recipients from their money. So how important is it that, organizations like the Road Accident Fund and, of course, the LPC work in a manner that can really protect the recipient and those who have been victims of car crashes?
No, it's absolutely critical. I think, the last thing that we need to do as organizations is to actually try and, put the blame on each other. I think there's a very big need for us to work together, and I must say that we do. Where we can, we assist the RAF, and we also expect of them to do the same for us. This entire system of regulation can only work if there's a proper exchange of information and we cooperate with each other.
Mr. Briel, one final question. What more information can, victims of, road accidents, what more can they do in order to get awareness of the situation? Because we know that, not everyone has that, necessary education or have been in car accidents and, are really innocent in all of this, but the education is not there. So where can, the citizens and those involved in car crashes and the victims of this get that necessary education so that when they come up against, but when they are with these legal practitioners, that they have a better understanding of who they are dealing with?
Look, I think the public is always welcome to approach our offices. We would not necessarily give legal advice, but we can point them in the correct direction to say, everything seems to be above board. Your attorney is allowed to practice. He has a Fidelity Fund certificate, and you should be covered. But also they do need to engage with the RAF from time to time to make sure that what the attorney is telling them is actually correct. I think the one aspect that the public do need to be aware of is specifically as it relates to the fees with these RAF matters. There's nothing wrong in asking the attorney to provide you with a statement to explain where these fees are coming from and what they are intended for. And if you then feel that the fees that have been charged is inappropriate, that is also something that can be brought to the LPC for us to assist you with and to engage the attorney to make sure that the fees that have been charged are correct.
Mr. Briel, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
That's Ignatius Briel, the Provincial Director for Gauteng for the Legal Practitioners Council. After the break, I'll have your latest in news. Do stay tuned.